Welcome back to Dart Stream Live. Russ Bray, the voice of darts. How you going, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks, bud. Yeah, really good. Enjoying myself.
Yeah, awesome. So, it's your 43rd trip, I believe, to Australia. This time for something a bit different, the ANZ Premier League. Obviously, the Premier League is something you're familiar with, but down under, how's it been so far for you?
Tell you what, it has been surprisingly good. It is far better than I expected. The lads have all stepped up to the plate at Trimbo. You know what I mean? They really have been superb. After getting over the initial nerves over the first couple of weeks, everyone's settled down. We've had 4 weeks now and 4 different winners. So that goes to show just how tight and how good it is. And the boys, 100 averages now and high 90s. So it's going absolutely lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as an Aussie, I know the level that these guys can play to. But when you've got, the World Series once a year, one player going to a World Championship, it's tough for them to, really break through and bring out those darts on the stage.
Yeah, of course it is. And the whole concept of this is they've got 8 weeks, or 7 weeks for some of them, but 8 weeks on a stage, on TV cameras, big crowds. So when they do come to the World Championships, they're not like a rabbit in the headlights. They're not going to freeze. They're going to, they'll absorb it and make some better players. You're playing regularly every week against the best. These are the best 8 players in the Southern Hemisphere here, So if you're playing against them week in, week out, it brings your game up. And that's exactly what we're seeing happening here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good to have the mixing of the Aussies and the Kiwis, because the Aussies obviously play each other fairly regularly on the tour events, and having the Kiwis mixed in there gives a bit of a, that trans-Tasman rivalry.
Yeah, of course it does. Of course, and that's what you want as well. You want your rivalries, and things like that. And none bigger and better than New Zealand versus Australia, is there? You know what I mean? So it's a good mix, a very good mix indeed. And of course, all the players are superb.
Yeah, for sure. I know the crowds have been a little bit against the Kiwis at different times so far. I know Johnny especially is copying it a bit.
Yeah, you're in Wellington next week. They'll be able to get their own back. So
exactly right.
Yeah, but a crowd's a crowd, you know what I mean? And they're always going to be biased to their own country, which is, we see that over in the UK and over in Germany and places like that. We've got events over there, So I mean, as long as it's decent banter, you don't tend to mind it.
Yeah, exactly. And look, so half of the field that's in this Premier League is going to be going to the World Championships. So we've already got Johnny Tartar, who won over in New Zealand. We've got Joe Comito, top of the DPA, and Tim, top of the new ADA, plus the winner of this tournament. So you're going to have 4 very, seasoned and prepped players heading over there. And, there's 2 weeks gap before the start of the World Championships after the end of this. So what do you reckon about some big chances of?
Of course, they've more than got a great chance. As I say, I looked at Brody last week. 104 and change average. I mean, that's fantastic. He's over 104 and off. So that's world class. That's world class. And if he brings that game, if he wins this and brings that game to the Ali Pali stage, who knows? Who knows? I'm not saying that one of these guys will win the World Championship, but they can go deep, and that will be attributed to the ANZ Premier League, because it's constant games all the time and against quality players. So that's very, very important, and that's why this has been so important.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've been coming out to Australia for a long time now, and a point that I touched on talking to Jamie, I think that Australia really was the first country outside of the UK and Europe to sort of break through into that PDC, You had Simon going through, making the world final, and then a couple of years later, the start of the World Series at Luna Park. And from there, you saw sort of year in, year out, Aussies getting up there, and at least once a year, there'd be one of the local qualifiers to take down one of the big boys, Tick Bridge, the Barney Slater.
Exactly. I mean, it's it's probably one of the most famous, and Corey Cadby when he played Phil Taylor. So you guys have got it all down there. You really have got the talent.
Yeah.
You've got the talent. It's just a matter of bringing it out on the stage, and that's what these guys. I'm sure these guys will be doing, It's because then they're getting used to being on the stage. They're getting used to a walk on and high-fiving and signing cards as they come up to the stage itself. So, and that's all part and parcel of of this, and this is why this is such a good event.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely feels like there is a big shift, I guess, or freshen up here in Australia. I know Matt Porter was quite famous down under. Said in an interview a little while ago that things needed a bit of a change here in Australia, and with the launch of the ADA and now this ANZ Premier League, I think things are definitely on the up. I guess
it's all going in the right direction, and that's what it's all about. You know, it needs to be going in the right direction. You've got a good infrastructure now, a very, very good infrastructure. Well, you did before with the DPA. To be fair, you had a good infrastructure, but it's, you know, to freshen things up is very, very important. You know, it's and that then gives different ideas, different ways, different things, different people, and fresh blood's always good. You know, this is again what this has done. Fresh blood. Seeing all the different, you know, well, not different guys, but the guys are, you know, they're right up for it. I mean, thing is, Australia's so vast, you know, I mean, you know, from one end to the other, as you know, you live here, you know, 6-7 hours, you know, flight to go from one end to the other. So it's not as though it's going to be on your doorstep all the time. So to get these boys in all together, competing, it's a dream bug.
Yeah, exactly right. And look, you touched on the DPA there. You've been involved in that for a while. You came to the DPA Championships pretty much every year it was run. It was a great time.
Of course.
You've got best players in the country and in New Zealand coming over. A week of just going at each other with you up there refereeing finals and whatnot. great times. And obviously COVID put a bit of a dent in that, stopped that from happening and whatnot. But I think that, as you put it, the freshening up.
Yeah, that's it. You know, it doesn't help. You know, it doesn't hurt to put a fresh coat of polish on anything. You know, give it a little bit more of a shine, give it a different outlook, different enthusiasm, and that's exactly that's what this has done now. You know, so it's good. It's good. Darts over here in the Southern Hemisphere is really going in the right direction, and that's all you can wish for.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and I think Aussies have been getting tour cards for a decade and a half now. But great to see Hope Puha sort of breaking through 2 years ago now, being the first Kiwi to get his tour card.
Exactly.
And so I think that's really brought New Zealand darts on the up as well. And great to see the ANZ Premier League side of it. 2 Kiwi players in the lineup. Only one night. I may have liked to see another night in New Zealand, but maybe next year.
Who knows? Who knows? You know, it's this is its first one. This is its first go. You know, I mean, it's you look at tonight. We've got close on 4,000 people coming out to watch the darts. You know, you've got 7 matches. That's basically what you've got. You've got 4,000 people want to come out and watch it. You know, like 1,500s before now, and it's great. It's great for darts here down under. It really is a great concept. Next year, it'll be bigger and better. Because like I say, this is being the first one. Next year, bigger, better. Who knows? Crop of different players, maybe, or a lot of players will be able to look at this and say, "Oh, I want to be in that. I want to do that. I want 6-8 weeks on the road, playing darts at a top level." And that's what happens. Next thing you know, you've got a clutch of players that that probably drop 1 or 2 of these out, and that's what you've got to be looking at. And as I say, with the ADA as it got it now, it's a good fight. It's a good fight. So whoever's at the top, deserves to be there, literally, because they will be one of the very best in odds. So it's lovely. It's good.
Yeah, cool. Well, enough of that. A little bit more about you. So obviously you retired from the main PDC circuit.
Step down.
And you've been doing a lot more of the ambassador type roles, working a lot with PDC Asia, and doing different events like the World Series, and now coming out here, this doing this Premier League. So is that still kind of pretty much the gist of what you're doing?
Exactly that. I do a lot of galas, dart galas over in like Germany, Belgium, Finland, and things like that. I got invited out to Iceland to do their finals, or a place I can't even pronounce, but I flew into Reykjavik. That's about as much as I know, and then flew on to somewhere else, Arikayuri or something like that. Beautiful, stunning place. So going out and doing things like that is lovely. Like I say, the exhibition circuit, I'm still very much on, in demand for exhibitions and things like that, which is, again, for me, although I've stepped down from all the PDC major stuff, Worlds and all the such like, I'm still very, very busy. And And like you touched on there, you know, the World Series and the Asian Tour, I'm sort of pretty much on, you know, on this side of it as well. So yeah, it's nice and busy, and lots of different things as well.
Yeah, no, awesome. Look, you know, recently George Noble and John McDonald have announced that they're also, you know, stepping down and whatnot, and yeah, it feels like there's bringing in a crop of fresh blood to the PDC. In
like I say, man, and said, you know, it doesn't hurt to change the blood around. You know, it's a young man's sport. It is a young man's sport now. Obviously, you know, I mean, Humphrey's only just 30. Van Goghen's only 37, I think, something like that, 36, 37. They're young kids still. They're young kids. Yeah. And it's only fitting that when you get up to your sell-by date, we've all got a sell-by date. I realised mine 2 or 3 years ago, 2 years before I actually retired, stepped down. I said to Matt Porter in 2022 that, you know, looking at stepping down, he said, well, do us a year, 2023, and go make 24 your swan song. I said, yep, lovely. 24 World Championship swan song. So I said, yep, lovely, that's great. As long as you realise that, George and John, they're giving up at the very, very, very top. You know, the World Championship, there isn't no bigger tournament than that, or better tournament than that. I've done the same, right at the very top, come out of it then. Young kids come in now, you know, these guys, you know, they just don't make mistakes. They've got years ahead of them in doing it. They are good because they're all different, and that again is another big thing. Yeah, freshen it up, you know, it's in the initial sense, people don't like change. Yeah. The minute there's a change, I don't like that, but they get used to it. Yeah, and then what becomes new becomes what they expect every time, you know, so. You know, the guys that are coming in, you know, Charlie Goldstein, who took over from me, Hugh Ware, Kurt Bevins, these boys in there, you know, now every tournament comes up, they'll expect to see them, you know, and it'll become the norm. Yeah. Exactly. Until in 20 odd years' time, you refresh it again or however long it takes, you know. So, yeah, it's a good thing. Well, I mean, George and John, you know, going at Christmas, it's they're going at the very top. I personally think, you know, going at the top is the right thing.
Yeah, sure. And look, I think an important point around that sort of passing on of the baton, bringing in that fresh blood. The system these days is quite a lot different to as when you come through. I know in your audiobook you talked about how it was kind of, you did a bit of reffing for county and different things, and it just sort of happened, you happened upon reffing on the big stage, I suppose, is a way to put it, where these days, I talked with Owen a bit about how he came through the PDC
marker system, that's it,
you can kind of go through those steps, and there's that clear pathway. So there's plenty of opportunity for anyone who's interested to
very much so, very much. If it's something that you want to get involved with, you want to be with, you know, it's go through those stages. But I always turn around and say, you know, you've still got county matches going on. So if you want to really do this as a referee, go and do your county stuff. Go, because county is stage, markers on the stage, or electronics now. But you're still doing the same thing, and you'll be in front of people as well. So it gets you used to actually, you know, calling for, when you do get to call for the big boys, you know, your Littlers and your Humphreys and your Andersons and all these sort of people. You know, it's a good way of working into it.
Yeah, for sure. I guess it's a bit of a different story here down under, but you've been working with Matt Woodbury, Jordan Russell, who have been our two Aussie refs getting up there. How's that been, training up?
I'll tell you what, they have been very, very, very good. Very good. It's people think it's easy up there just calling numbers. Yeah, it ain't easy. It ain't an easy job, you know, by any stretch. You've got to concentrate all the time, which is one sometimes I sort of lacked a bit of. But you've got to concentrate all the time. Make sure you get it, you know, your numbers right. These guys have been absolutely superb for this. Honestly, for this 5 weeks, no, it's the 5th week today for me. For this amount of time, these boys have been absolutely superb, and long may they continue. But it's also good for them, because every week, but every week you're up there on TV calling, and That's good for them. It's good for their profile, you know, and their confidence. They get up there and go and call anything. You call on TV, you can call anything, literally. You know, it doesn't matter. It don't matter. You're calling at the very, very top, you know, and that's what it's all about. And these boys have been. I can't emphasise it enough. They have been absolutely excellent.
Yeah, awesome. Because like a big part of what we try and do at Darts Stream Live, obviously with streaming things like the ADA Tour and with the WDF affiliate as well, Darts Australia, you know, we try and bring in the caller and having a microphone into the live stream. And so, you know, Jordan had done a bit of work with us in an event earlier in the year. And, it's something that we try and get different people in. So, you know, Corey, who's done a bit of the marking. Excellent. I know the first time I got him up on stream to put the mic on, he's like, like real and then after I saw him, I think it was week 1 in Melbourne here, and he's like up on stage doing the scoring. He's like, you know, next time I'm at an ADA, make sure you get me to put the mic on. I want to do this, and he's getting keen and getting behind it. That's what we've found with a lot of people. Is the more they do it, the more comfortable they get.
Of course, and that again is very, very important. Keep it going. Like I say, the more you do something, the more confident you get at it. The more things you realise, you know, it's like I've turned and said, we was mucking about earlier on, and Jordan sort of miscounted a corner, was having a laugh and all the rest of it. You know, the trick is, if you do make a bloomer, you know, forget it. Forget it doing it. Because if you dwell on it, you'll make another one. And that's why, and have a knock-on effect. We're all human. Believe you me, even Kirk Bevins has made a mistake, you know, which is... the guy just doesn't. You know what I mean? We all do. It's human error. It's just a matter of getting over it. If there's a problem, of course, the other thing on the stage there is the demeanour of the players. You have to be careful with that type of thing. You know, especially you've got 2 players who are a clash of personalities. Let's put it that way. You know, you've got to know how to deal with that. So you're not just calling numbers. You know. You're an agony aunt, you know, someone wants a shoulder to cry on, and you know, a cuddle, or you know, a smile, or a laugh, fist pump, whatever. It's a little bit more than just calling numbers. And again, these boys will warm to that by the amount of times that they're doing it. Yeah. So at the end of the day, they'll get used to that as well. Plus, the players get used to the corner.
Yeah. Exactly.
They get used to the corner. So it's great for them. It really is great for them boys.
Yeah, getting up on stage and seeing a familiar face, you know, that little bit of familiarity and something that may seem so foreign, I suppose.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, look, what's next for you, Russ? What's coming next year?
Next year, pretty much the same as this year. So I mean, I'll still do the World Series. I'll still do the Asian Tour. I've got, 30 odd dates booked in for galas, and then I've got other exhibition stuff. So I'm still very, very busy, and over 2026, and long may it continue. Because I love it. I've got as much enthusiasm now as I did 30 years ago. You know what I mean? So again, it's just something I love doing. You know, it's not hard work. Not to me, it ain't. Scaffolding was what I was doing. That's hard work. This ain't. Standing up there calling numbers or chatting to people, come and meet you guys, and I come and sit and have an interview with you. It's not hard work, is it?
No, and you guys have had that 1 day of work a week for the last month and a half. Right? Hey, that's the way I would say it. He's dogged it now, but no, it's been so good to have you here. And,
lovely being here. Thanks.
Yeah, and looking forward to catching up again in the World Series next year. Obviously, it's been announced Wollongong in New Zealand. I imagine you'll be back for that, yeah?
I certainly will. Yeah. Hope so.
Yeah, and then fingers crossed, Premier League sort of continues on strongly into the future.
And let's like you say, fingers crossed, let's hope that does work, because I'm certain it will. Yeah. I'm certain it will.
Awesome. Well, look, Russ, thank you very much for your time, mate. I better let you go and prepare. I think you're not.
Go do a bit on the stage now, go warming him up.
Awesome.
Thanks, buddy. God bless you, mate. Cheers, pal.